Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this exciting announcement. My name is Matt Jones, and I'm the United Conservative candidate for Calgary Southeast. I'm here with my fellow UCP candidates, Josephine Pon, Jeremy Nixon, Jason Copping, Rebecca Schultz, Mohammed Yassin, Nicholas Milliken, Mike Ellis, Chris Davis, Tyler Shandro, Whitney Isaac, Astrid Kuhn, Pamela Rath, Inder Gruwal, Miles McDougall, Jason Luan, Rick McIver, Amanpreet Singh Gill, and Mickey Amory. I've had the honor and privilege of representing Calgary Southeast from 2019 until today. And looking back, it's been a remarkable 4 years. When we took office, Alberta wasn't working, and Albertans were struggling. The previous NDP government had raised taxes, increased regulatory burden, and had done significant damage to our energy sector and reputation as a place to do business. Under the NDP, tens of thousands of Albertans lost their jobs. Investment dried up, and people were leaving Alberta to find opportunity and hope. In 2019, Albertans spoke. They had had enough of the failed and costly policies of the NDP. They wanted to restore the Alberta advantage and to move Alberta forward. Once in office, we did exactly what we said we would do, exactly what Albertans told us to do. We cut taxes. We got control of our spending and focused it on the priorities of Albertans. And we restored Alberta's reputation and Albertans' confidence in our great province. We've come a long way, but we're not done yet. We need to continue moving forward on reducing taxes to keep Alberta affordable. We need to continue moving forward on healthcare and on public safety. With the support of Albertans and the leadership of the woman that I have the privilege of introducing today, we're going to do just that. She's devoted her career to solving the challenges facing our province, to securing a stronger, more prosperous future, and she has put together the United Conservative team and policies we need to get there. It is my honor to introduce the leader of the United Conservative Party and the 18th Premier of Alberta. Please welcome Danielle Smith.
Well, thanks so much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Matt, for the kind introduction. Matt, of course, is our UCP candidate here in Calgary Southeast. It's in his role as minister, he's done a tremendous job addressing the affordability and cost of living concerns of Albertans. So thank you so much, Matt. I'm also honored to be joined by the rest of our fantastic team of Calgary UCP candidates who are united in our commitment to move Alberta forward. I hope to work alongside each of you in the legislature. This election is about families, hardworking women and men who deserve good-paying jobs, who deserve safe streets and communities, who deserve low taxes and an affordable cost of living. And while Alberta's economy is booming, it seems everything we need to live and raise our families is getting more expensive. And we are mindful that taxes are the biggest cost for most Alberta families. That's why the United Conservative Party is committed to making life affordable by cutting taxes for all Albertans. So today, I'm pleased to announce a re-elected United Conservative government will create a new 8% tax bracket on income under $60,000. This means that every Albertan earning over $60,000 or more will save $760. That is $1,500 per family. Albertans earning less than $60,000 will see a 20% reduction to their provincial tax bill under this tax cut. This permanent billion-dollar tax cut will provide meaningful, timely tax relief to Albertans at a time when they need it most. It will result in real and significant savings that can be put towards housing, life's other necessities, planning for the future, or whatever else is a priority for you. After all, it's your money. You earned it. It's not the government's. The new tax cut for all Albertans is just the beginning of what United Conservatives will do to help Alberta families. We're also focused on the future. That is why a re-elected UCP government will continue to index all tax brackets to keep up with inflation, which will better shield Albertans from the cost of the federal NDP Liberal coalition's irresponsible spending, spiraling debt, and carbon tax. Today's commitment to lowering taxes builds on our no tax hike guarantee. UCP's pledge to not increase personal or business taxes. A UCP government would formalize this guarantee by expanding the Taxpayer Protection Act to ensure that no future government can increase personal or business taxes without first getting approval from Albertans in a referendum. And finally, A re-elected UCP government will again extend the fuel tax holiday until December 31st, 2023, ensuring Albertans save 13 cents per litre at the pump. This is a savings of around $10 on average every time you fill up your vehicle, and it will assist Albertans to offset the Notley-Trudeau carbon tax that makes everything Albertans need to live more expensive. A memo from the Parliamentary Budget Officer shows that the average Alberta family will pay $710 out of pocket on the carbon tax this year, after their so-called rebates. By 2030, the NDP Liberal Coalition will be picking an additional $2,000 a year out of the pockets of Albertans with their carbon tax. We will not stand for this. A UCP government will work to axe the carbon tax altogether, because the best way governments can help address affordability is by ensuring that you, the taxpayer, keeps more money in your pocket. That is our UCP plan to help you keep more money in your pocket. Now contrast that with the NDP's record. While Rachel Notley and the NDP were in government, they hiked taxes and fees 97 times and raised the business tax by 20%, causing businesses and families to leave in droves. The NDP's high taxes resulted in a record 13 consecutive quarters of people leaving Alberta for other provinces. While businesses closed their doors, industries were forced to lay off workers, and investment dried up. The choice in this election couldn't be clearer. It's a choice between a UCP government that will cut your taxes and make life more affordable, or an NDP government that will make you pay more across the board, from taxes to fuel to groceries and beyond. It's a choice between moving Alberta forward and building a brighter future, or returning to the NDP's costly and failed policies. We can't afford to go back. Since taking office, the UCP has restored Alberta's tax advantage, meaning that Albertans are paying almost $20 billion less in taxes than the next lowest tax province. We have seen record investments and greater economic diversification after we cut Notley's high corporate tax rate of 12% down to 8%. That tax will now generate a record $6.4 billion this year in corporate tax revenue that helps to pay for high-quality healthcare, schools, and supports to help Albertans manage inflation. We need to continue growing the Alberta advantage so our province remains the best place in the world to raise a family and build a business. And that means having a responsible plan for spending, growth, and stability that keeps taxes low and the cost of living affordable. Together, we will build a stronger, more resilient, and more prosperous Alberta today and for our future generations. At its heart, this election is a choice between moving forward or going back, between embracing forward-looking policies to grow the economy, generate new opportunities, make life more affordable, or returning to the costly, failed policies of the NDP. For the sake of hundreds of thousands of families across Alberta, we can't afford to go back. And with Albertans' support, we won't. Instead, we can move forward building the stronger, more resilient, more prosperous province Albertans deserve today, and that we want our children and grandchildren to inherit tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Premier Smith, for your remarks. Introducing a new tax cut for all Albertans by creating a new 8% tax bracket on income under $60,000 is an important step forward. After 4 years of UCP leadership, Alberta is back, and the signs are all around us. Our economy is booming. We're seeing economic diversification at rates we've never seen before. Alberta is leading the way in hydrogen technology. We had a record year for film and television productions, and our city is becoming a hub for tech, with several innovative companies choosing our city for their headquarters. We're making progress on healthcare by clearing the surgical backlog, decreasing wait times in emergency departments and for EMS, and we're investing in new hospitals. For Calgary, that will mean preparing to open the new Calgary Cancer Centre and planning a new hospital for North Calgary Airdrie. We've made too much progress to risk throwing it away with Rachel Notley and the NDP. This could quite possibly be the most important election in Alberta's history. On one hand, we have Danielle Smith and the United Conservatives, who are relentlessly focused on moving Alberta forward. Conservatives are committed to creating opportunities for all Albertans, with more good-paying jobs, low taxes, a strong economy, while also ensuring that our communities are safe and secure. On the other hand, there's Rachel Notley and the NDP, who want to take us back to their failed policies of the past. They want to raise taxes, to spend recklessly, and make promises they just can't keep. They're committed to taking us back to the days of high unemployment job losses, and a more expensive Alberta for all. The choice before Albertans is clear. It's a choice between Danielle Smith and the United Conservative Party that will move Alberta forward, or Rachel Notley and the NDP that will take us back. Albertans can't afford to go back. We need to continue to build a stronger, safer, and more affordable Alberta. And that's exactly what a re-elected UCP government will do. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. I'm going to go to questions on the floor. I know we have quite a bit. Please just say your name, outlet. You have one question, and then I'll hit the phones. Go ahead.
Hi, Audrey Neveu with Radio-Canada. Happy election launch day.
Thanks, Audrey.
So in the last few months since you've become Premier, you've spent over $2.5 billion in inflation relief measures, $330 million in the arena deal for the Calgary Flames, and now $1 billion on this tax cut. What would you respond to those who would see this and think you're trying to buy votes with government money?
Well, look, the role of government is to identify the things that people want us to invest in and to invest in them. I've been asked for many months now what we would do to be able to help Calgary, and that was part of the reason why we wanted to bridge the gap and make sure that we did important infrastructure investments so that they could get to the finish line on the entire district that is going to, I think, not only rejuvenate the downtown core, but also provide a lot of wonderful memories for people. We also have a fiscal framework, and our fiscal framework makes sure that we limit year-over-year spending increase so that we have the ability to manage our spending in a sustainable way. I would point out that we paid off $13 billion worth of debt, and in doing so, that saves $500 million in finance charges. I personally believe that when we save money in finance charges, that money should go back to Albertans, and that's what this tax cut is about. It allows for us, over the course of the next mandate, to reduce the bottom rate by down to 8% on all incomes up to $60,000, which will save $760 per taxpayer, $1,500 for a family. We believe that dividend of us taking the hard decisions to pay off debt should go back to Alberta taxpayers.
Next question, please.
Good morning, it's Safe Kaiser Global News. I'm just wondering, dealing press conferences here, you're here for the launch of the election. Rachel Notley's also in Calgary, launch of the election. Obviously, Calgary being the battleground here. I guess, what do you say to those that may see this and think, if they live in rural communities or Edmonton, that they're kind of being forgotten this election? And how do you feel with a lot of Calgary ridings being a little up in the air here?
Well, I would say that when we put together our capital plan, we did that with $8 billion per year for the next 3 years. And the bulk of that is going to support our communities outside Calgary and Edmonton. About 75% of our capital funding is going to support rural communities, road projects, hospital and education projects. And I'm more than happy as we go through the campaign to be highlighting those. But here we are in Calgary today, which is why we're highlighting our Calgary investment. We have done an incredible amount of work over the last 4 years to rebuild the confidence in our Alberta economy, and it's working. We now see record influx of people coming into the city. We see a record amount of venture capital investment, most of it which is coming into the city. We see every day new businesses that are expanding out in downtown Calgary. And so I think people know that we need to have a lot of strength in Calgary and in Edmonton. And people, I think, are rooting for our two major cities to do well. That's part of the reason why we're making these kinds of investments. But the main thing today is this is a policy that benefits everyone. Every Albertan who is going to receive a tax cut. When we go down and reduce that lowest rate to 8% on all incomes up to $60,000, it'll be $760 for each individual taxpayer and $1,500 for a family that has a two income earners. So to me, that is something that every Albertan can enjoy and take advantage of, and that's part of the reason why we're announcing it today.
Good morning, Jason Marcus from CBC. 2 weeks before your election, you offered a public health guarantee. 2 weeks before the 2019 election, Jason Kenney offered a public health guarantee. 2 weeks before on the eve of the campaign, Jason Kenney talked about being relentlessly focused on the economy. In your speech on Saturday, you said you are relentlessly focused on the economy. What's the difference between you and Jason Kenney?
Hey, look, the UCP is very consistent. We both, it doesn't matter whether it's me or the candidate standing behind me, we believe that building an opportunity for jobs, economy, and investment is the foundation of what it means to have an Alberta advantage. So no one should be surprised by that. No one should be surprised as well that the NDP keep lying about our healthcare record. I mean, they said in the last election that we were going to cut healthcare by 20%. Look what happened. We now have a record amount of spending on healthcare, and we've eliminated Rachel Notley's user fees. She was charging $40 per day on bed access for those with addiction treatment. We got rid of that. We expanded out mental health. We've made mental health and addiction an essential part of our healthcare system. I signed a $24 billion deal with the federal government that will bring $24 billion worth of new funding into our province. And the foundation of that is the guarantee that we will uphold the principles of the Canada Health Act, meaning no one will pay for a family doctor and no one will pay for hospital services. So as long as the NDP keep on lying about our record, we'll keep on telling the truth about theirs. And the truth about their record is that they devastated the Alberta economy. They created policies that drove investment out, drove jobs out, and we had to reverse all of that so that we were able to bring those people, those jobs, and that investment back. And that's what the corporate income tax cut was about. That is also what the reduction in the fuel tax is about, is to offset the carbon taxes that she started. And we're going to continue this by reducing personal income taxes so that every single family is able to benefit from this. $760 for those who are earning $60,000 or more, as well as $1,500 for a family of two. So we're pretty excited about being able to offer a different vision.
Sorry, no difference between you and Jason Kenney then?
I can tell you, people like this consistency and stability of a united Conservative government, which is why we're seeking a second majority.
Good morning, Adam Sos from Rebel News. A lot has been made about the sort of Danielle Smith versus Justin Trudeau narrative, or the Danielle Smith versus Rachel Notley narrative. I wanted to touch on perhaps a different angle. What about Conservatives in Alberta who are apprehensive to support the UCP, or I've often heard the terms, are supporting the UCP only as a lesser of two evils? What do you say to them?
Well, look, you've got two choices in this election. I think we've got a choice with a UCP government that will move Alberta forward, or an NDP government that will move the province backward. And we've seen the difference between our two records. The NDP has demonstrated what they will do when they're in government. They increased taxes. They brought in a corporate tax increase. They brought in a carbon tax that we can't get rid of. They brought in changes to how farms are operated, and they've threatened now to do that once again. We know exactly what we'll get under the NDP. We'll get an environment where people are thinking twice about staying here. We saw 13 quarters where people left our province. We saw a decline in investment, decline in revenue, and decline in ability to pay for the things that people care about. That's what they're voting. That's what the choice is. They can vote for us, and they'll have the same stability that they have had over the last 4 years, knowing that we are going to keep taxes low. We're going to be relentlessly focused on jobs and economy and investment and bringing people here and creating an environment where we're going to continue to grow. So that, to me, is the two big choices in this election, and I want people to vote for another united Conservative majority government.
Next question.
I feel like a lounge singer here, adjusting the microphone. Rick Bell, Calgary Sun. Despite, and I'm sure you're going to have more announcements that come in the 28 days, but in the 28 days there is going to be, it even surfaced again on the weekend, there's going to be the elephant in the room, and the elephant in the room is that people are going to bring up other issues independent of policy and questions, not so much about maybe the radio show host days, but questions about things that you've said when you were running for the UCP leadership and when you have been premier, or episodes that have happened, or actions that have happened. What is your plan over these 4 weeks to counter those questions? You can practice on it right now, but what is your, how are you going to deal with that if people say, well, what about this, and what about Ron DeSantis, and what about Kristi Noem, and what about Ayn Rand, and what about this person and that person, and you like this, and Friedrich Hayek and everybody else, and the pastor? What are you going to say when you're making announcements like this, and questions inevitably will come up about that stuff, and people will question who you are as a result of that?
Look, I'm not perfect. Everyone knows that. I've had 27 years in the public eye. I've spoken and written millions of words. sometimes I make mistakes. And every time I've made a mistake, I acknowledge it. I apologize if I've hurt anybody. And I promise to do better. I think that people don't expect their politicians to be perfect. What I would hope is that people would judge me and our UCP team based on what we do. And we have done so much good in the 4 years that we've been in government. And we've done so much good as a united team since I became leader. I am proud of every single one of our MLAs and candidates. And I'm looking forward to being able to put forward a strong team that people can have confidence in. The main thing that I think people will see of what it is that we're offering is that we are offering stability. We're offering continuity. We are offering a government that is going to make sure that we are relentlessly focused on creating jobs, attracting investment, and making sure life is more affordable for their families. That's what I hope people will judge us on, and compare that with Rachel Notley, who made life more expensive, who increased taxes, and who drove investment in people out of the province. I don't think people want to move back. I think they want to move forward. I'm moving forward, and I hope that Albertans join us.
Tyson Thor with CTV. I just want to take you back to the event center announcement. That day you'd mentioned this is something that's going to be talked about with voters during the election. The following day you said you didn't want to make it an election issue. How do you square that? Of course, there's a poll out this morning saying it's a very mixed signal here in this city. So how do you square that with voters, and what do you say to them on their doorsteps through this campaign on why this is beneficial for this city?
Well, you know, honestly, Rachel Notley surprised me by being opposed to the deal, because I was very supportive of the fact that the team and the city came together in a landmark deal that they've been working on for decades. I want to be very supportive of this council, and I found it amazing. There have been stories over the course of the weekend where every single council member was asked why they supported it, and they all had different reasons. But it comes down to is it's a good deal for Calgary. It's a good investment for Calgary. And it's going to change the lives of Calgarians, whether they enjoy sports or whether they want concerts or whether they're just going to enjoy the outdoor spaces as well as the incredible opportunities that come from building out that district. So if you want the truth, I didn't anticipate it being a campaign issue, because I thought it was so obvious that whoever was running would want to support Calgary. And so to me, it's up to Ms. Notley to explain why she would take an action that would kibosh a deal that was so hard fought and hard negotiated by these two players. Especially since what we put forward is very reasonable. We're going to be supporting the infrastructure development. We're going to be helping to support the community arena. And these are the kind of things that I believe Calgarians want us to invest in. So surprisingly, she's made it an election issue. To me, it's a slam dunk. She should just say she's going to support it.
Hi, Chris Farco with the Calgary Herald. Just want to ask you about this announcement today. How much is it permanently going to cost the Alberta Treasury? And then how are you going to pay for it? And I guess thirdly, what is this going to do to the very slim budget surpluses that you have coming forward in the next couple of years?
So it's been costed out at, I believe, $1 billion. I think just under $1 billion. And one of the things that I would say is that just because you increase tax rates doesn't mean you increase tax revenue. We saw that with Rachel Notley's corporate income tax increase. She went from a 10% rate to a 12% rate. And if you look at what happened year after year after year, the amount of corporate income tax revenues declined. We reduced the corporate income tax rate from 12% down to 8%, sending a signal to the world we were open for business. And every single year, corporate tax revenues have increased to a point now where we have $6.4 billion in corporate tax revenue. So the tax cut paid for itself with growth. I would anticipate the same thing would happen in this case, that putting more money in the hands of individuals allows them with more of their own money to spend on the things they care about. It stimulates the economy. It will result in more people moving here. We have more people moving here, we'll have more taxpayers. If we've got more people who are spending their money, it'll generate more corporate tax revenue. So I'm very confident that this is a very prudent way that we will be able to move down to 8%. On a portion of the income. It brings us, actually, if you want the truth, brings us in alignment with where British Columbia and Ontario already are. Those are two provinces that already do have a lower rate on the lowest income taxpayers. And I think we've already paid for half of it by making an historic payment on our debt of $13 billion. We've begun paying down the Notley era debt. And it has saved over $500 million in finance charges. And as we continue to generate surpluses, 50% of them will go to pay down debt. As we pay down debt, and realize a savings on finance charges, we're going to return those dollars to Albertans as a dividend. So that and this is sort of the first step on that. So that's the approach that people should become accustomed to seeing with us, is that we are always going to be relentlessly looking for more ways to put money back in their pockets. So I believe that the cut will pay for itself.
Okay, Jonathan, we'll go to you, and then I have to hit the phones.
Hello, Premier Smith. Jonathan Bradley, Western Standard. Your candidate for Livingston McLeod, Chelsea Petrovic, has apologized for past offensive social media posts. She didn't specify what those posts were. What do you think of that?
Look, the candidate came forward and disclosed to me some posts that she was embarrassed about. She's was very sorry for them, and I accepted her apology. And she wants to focus on moving forward, and so we will.
All right, operator, let's go to the first caller.
Graham Thompson, Toronto Star.
Yes, thank you. Premier, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you all right.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yes, a bit of a feedback at my end. I just have a question regarding a leaders debate. Making sure that you're actually going to be taking part in one. Is there going to be one? I ask because you have limited the ability of reporters to ask questions. We're allowed one question, no follow-up. And you and I have been around politics for a long time. We've never seen a premier refuse even a follow-up question during an election campaign. I just want to confirm there will be a leaders debate, and you will take part in it.
I see that you guys are getting very good at asking double-barreled questions, so it doesn't matter that I don't take follow-ups. And the reason, as you know, I don't take follow-ups is so we can get through more questions. We're in a period of time during this election where there's a lot of people who want to ask me questions, and we want to be able to take as many as possible. And so that's part of the reason for that, Graham. Yes, there will be a debate. From my point of view, we have already have a team that is working with the stations to be able to pin down the time and the place. So if there isn't a debate, that's not because of me. So you may want to ask Ms. Notley if for some reason she's having second thoughts about that. And we will, I'll continue to do these kinds of media availabilities so that people know exactly where I stand on issues. We'll be making myself available multiple times during the course of the week. And if there's anything that is unclear about what I've said, please feel free to follow up with Becca Pollock, and she'll be able to clarify any of my answers.
All right, operator, let's go to the last caller, please.
Lisa Johnson, Edmonton Journal. Hi, thanks so much for taking my question. I'm wondering, Ms. Smith, sorry, I'm getting a major echo here.
I can hear you okay. It's not echoing on my end.
Okay, great, thanks. In early April, your lawyer sent a notice of defamation demanding that the CBC retract and apologize for a January 19th story that you called defamatory and containing baseless allegations. The letter gave a deadline on Friday before you intended to bring a lawsuit against the CBC under the Defamation Act. And I have received a response from your office, but I'm wondering if you can just clearly say yes or no whether or not you followed through with your intention to sue the CBC on this matter. And if you're going to repeat the talking points that I received from your office on Friday, can you please explain why you don't think voters deserve to know if someone seeking public office is following through on a threat to sue the public broadcaster?
Look, I think that Albertans are interested in what we're going to be campaigning on to move the province forward, and that's what I'll be focused on for the next 4 weeks, is making sure that people understand exactly what a UCP majority government will deliver, and that's going to be my main my sole focus for the next 28 days.
Thanks, everybody.